All right, so the next thing we want to do is create a repository to manage locations. So let's do a location repository test. So I've got a couple of geo coordinates here. So let's say I have I'm going to create a new location with these geo coordinates. So let's just create a field for that. So, alright, let's create the repository, which we're going to put inside of the source folder. Source repository, boom, there you go. Okay, yes. Alright, move that to the right. Right, so here we're going to see that we have a save method that we want to reuse. We already have that in the user repository. So I'm going to create a base class. It's going to be an abstract class. I'm going to take my save method from the user repository. Define it here, import protected. There you go. So now I don't really need to do this. Let me just make sure, because I did some refactoring. Let me just make sure that all my other tests still pass. Row. No, this is app bundle repository. Duh. Okay. Oop, I need to import that. Okay, let's try again. Okay, test still pass, that's good. So let's make this work. So this is going to be a new entity that I'm going to save in my source directories, entity, folder, boom. There we go. Okay, yes. Okay. Right, so this is going to be a bit more polymorphic. Okay. Okay, so this test should still fail because the entity manager won't know what to do with my application. There you go. So, as we've done before, this is an entity. Its table will be named locations, why not? So the ID field is going to be an integer. ID, and then this is going to be an ID. Generated value strategy equals identity. What else did I have for an ID? ID generate. Oh yeah, I got to define a column, of course. It's not going to be nullable. All right. So for the lat and long, um, all right. Oops. Lat long. Okay. There we go. Now I know that I can create and save a location. All right, so the next thing we want to do now is retrieve a location by latitude and longitude. Now that we are able to save a location, we want to be able to get that location record back by passing it the latitude and longitude. So this guy here. So okay. So I'm going to extract this part into a convenience method called get save location. All right, right here. So on my repository, I want to create a method called get location. And I'm going to say I basically want to create the same location object from the same latitude and longitude. I just kind of want to pass it to my repository as a lookup object. And then when we're done with this, we should be able to say that we should be able to assert same the save locations. It's the same as, well, actually, I'm going to say this is going to be retrieved location. Okay. Actually, I'm going to call this lookup location. Okay. So when we're done, this the retrieve locations get lat should be the same as the save locations get lat, and then we should also save locations get long matches the retrieve locations get long. Alright, so this test will fail because I haven't implemented any of this. Uh, uh, right, my location repository needs to exist first. So I'm going to move that into the setup method. So setup. Okay. All right, so now I should fail and get location. All right, that's good. So now let's make this method exist. Okay. Import it. Okay. So this method is going to return a single instance of an application object. Oop. All right. CM. Create a query. Um, we're going to set parameter of lat, the lookup's location, get lat. I'm going to set another parameter called long. Get long. Okay. And then we're going to return a single result. Okay. So the query will be select L from entity application L, where L dot lat equals the past latitude and L dot long equals the past longitude. Okay. So this will still fail because that get lat, get long methods don't exist yet. Yep. Cool. So let's make it exist. Okay. And let's make get long exist as well. All right. So now this test is very likely to pass. Okay. Now let's say I was to pass it another location pair where I change one of the numbers and it should fail. So if instead of this I do this, so I change a number here, the test should fail. Yep, because it did not find anything. All right, just kind of putting it back. All right, now we got a passing test. Okay, so now that we know that we can save a location, and then once this location has been saved, we can retrieve it by its lat and long coordinates. I want to be able to automatically create a location if it does not exist. So it would be test, create, and get new location. So let's say I have a home location. That's our save location that we did here. I'm going to create a new location called work location that is not yet in the system. So a new app location, and I'm going to pass it the work coordinates. Boom. All right, here. So at this point, I have a location that exists in our data store, but I have a work location that does not yet exist in our data store. So I want to be able to call get location on my repository and have that location automatically saved and then retrieved. So retrieve location of this location repository, get location, and I'm going to pass it my work location. And the retrieve location's coordinates should be the same as that work location, basically. So oh, no, get lat, duh. Okay. All right. So this test should fail because it should not be able to find it. So we're going to get a record not found exception. Here you go. No result was found for the query, although at least one row was expected. Okay. So to make this work, we're going to catch that exception. Which is a no result exception. So let's put this into a try. We're going to catch a no result exception. So it means it was not found. So then I'm going to save it. This save lookup location. At this point, I could just return it, but I kind of want to return it as retrieved from the database again. Interesting. Token long is not defined in a query. Ooh. That was weird. Okay. Yeah, it looks like my ID had changed this keyword here. Okay, so anyway, now it's the test passes. So now I can create and get. Good. Okay, so now I want to clarify a few things. Here in this lookup location, I really want to, the fact that I copied these coordinates from this guy here is kind of, it fails to convey the point that what I want is to copy the saved locations latitude and copy my saved locations longitude. So it's kind of easier to understand somebody look at my test to kind of understand what I'm trying to do, that my lookup location is the location that I had saved. So in this case, I'm returning the home location, but I don't really need it. So I only want to call this method such that I have a location that's saved in a database that is different from this new location that I'm creating, which is application for work. So, okay. So let me make sure that the test pass. Okay, cool. Now the other thing you might notice is that what I'm doing here is kind of uh, it's kind of redundant, right? Every time I want to see that location that I retrieved is correct, I compare both the lat and the long to be thorough. What I'd like to do instead is do something like assert true. That I want to assert true that uh, the retrieved location equals my save location. That's really what I want to do. So I'm going to create this method. So two locations are equal if and only if the compare locations get lat is the same as this get lat, and the compare locations get long is the same as this get long. Okay. All right. Okay. And the tests still pass. Just to make sure, if I say get lat here instead of get long, then it should fail. Yep. All right. Okay. And we're good. And then I'm going to do the same here. Assert true that retrieve location equals work location. So my test should still pass. All right. Okay, so now I can just remove this redundant code. All right. here we go. So test still pass. Good. So red, green refactor. Always making sure that the code is as readable as it can get. All right, so we're just about ready to create a service to use our repository. But before we do that, I don't like having numbers floating in my code. I like to extract those into constants. So command option C. So this is my home location. So I'm going to call this home location latitude. Okay, and I'm going to extract this one to home location longitude. All right, and I'm going to move this one. So this is work. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Work location latitude and work location longitude. Okay. So now my code reads more like English, but let me just kind of some feng shui here. All right. And then I'm going to move those constants into the base test class because I'm going to be reusing this in some other test. So okay, so let's do this. And let's see if my test will pass. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now that we've done some cleanup and some refactoring, and we've got our constants here, let's make the location service. It should be pretty easy. So here are my tests. So I'm going to do a new class location service test. Yeah. Okay, namespace is okay. Extends app test case. All right. So test get location. All right. So we're gonna have we're gonna create a new service. We're gonna do a location service equals new location service, to which we're gonna pass a new location repository. We're gonna inject that as a dependency, and the repository needs the entity manager. Okay. Good. And then we'll want to do a retrieve location. So I'm going to do reference location equals new app location, and I'm going to pass it, let's say, the home location. Okay. And on the location service, we're going to want to call a method called get location. And we're going to do this by, so this method will just take the coordinates instead of taking an instance of an entity. So get lat. get long. Okay. And that's going to be the retrieved location. So let's clean this. Okay. And then we'll just want to assert true that the retrieve location equals my reference location. Okay. So this test should fail because LocationService doesn't exist and the getLocation method doesn't exist. Okay. So let's make this exist. Create the class. I'm going to put it in the service folder. Where is it? Right here. Boom. Okay. Yes. Let's import it. Okay. Move this to the right. Let's correct the namespace. It's app bundle service. Okay. Back to the test. Import this guy. Okay. So now the test should still fail because getLocation doesn't exist. Yep. So let's do this. Add method. This is going to return a single instance of application. So it's going to be lat long return this location repository get location, and I'm just going to construct a entity, application entity, to which I pass the latitude and the longitude. Okay. So now this test should pass. Okay, it does. Alright, well that about does it for the location service. Pretty simple. I don't need to test the create or get logic because I already tested that in my repository. I just, here in this test, I just want to make sure that this service can call the repository and get a location no matter what. So it should be good here.